There comes a point in every man's life when the applause fades, the noise dies down, and all that's left is a silent question, echoing in the soul. Is this really all there is? You've pursued dreams, chased success, worked tirelessly, even prayed, yet deep within, there's still a restlessness, a thirst that no drink can quench, a hunger that no achievement can satisfy. You smile in public but groan in secret. You move forward but your spirit is weary. You lay down at night and wonder why. After all your effort, you still feel empty. The truth is this: struggle is not always a sign of failure. Sometimes it's a sign of disconnection. You were not created to carry life alone. You were not designed to be fulfilled by things. The house won't fix it. The title won't heal it. The relationship won't complete it. Only one thing, or rather one person, can truly satisfy the cry of your soul. And until you encounter him, not religion, not routine, but him, the struggle will continue. But tonight that cycle can break. There is a place of rest, a realm of peace, a dimension of true satisfaction, and it begins with surrender. Man was not designed to be self-sufficient. This is a revelation that until it enters your spirit, you will live life in unnecessary pain and struggle. The architecture of man's design carries a mystery that within every human spirit lies a deliberate insufficiency. That insufficiency is not a weakness. It is a spiritual clue. It is God's signature on man, calling him back to the source. You see, when God created man, he did not just give him breath, he gave him dependence. The very breath that made man a living soul was not from within the dust. It came from God himself. That is to tell you, man was never made to run on his own. It is dangerous when you begin to assume that success, peace, and fulfillment can be achieved outside of God. It may look like independence, but it is rebellion disguised as progress. Our generation has taught us to celebrate self-made men, to applaud those who need no help, no voice, no covering, no guidance. But in the spirit, independence is not a crown. It is a curse. The moment you begin to function as though you are enough, you step outside the divine blueprint. And the enemy knows this. That's why his oldest deception is still alive today. You shall be as gods. The idea that you don't need God, that you can discern, choose, and build without him, is satanic wisdom. Listen to me, man. It's not just body and mind. Man is spirit, and the spirit of man was crafted to receive from another dimension. When you wake up in the morning and feel empty despite a good job, a loving family, and many followers, it is not because something is wrong with you. It is because something is missing in you. That missing link is not a thing. It is not a person. It is not an opportunity. It is God. It is dangerous to ignore that inner cry for help, that longing for more. The soul does not cry for a new car. It cries for its creator. The spirit does not thirst for status. It thirsts for the living water. Every addiction, every obsession, every ambition that lacks rest, is proof that man is still trying to satisfy himself apart from God, and it will never work. The flesh may be full, but if the spirit is starving, the man is dying. That's why no matter how much you possess, if God is not the center of your satisfaction, your peace will always be temporary. You can travel to the ends of the earth, enter the greatest platforms, touch wealth and influence. But if God is not there, your soul will still be hungry. The tragedy is not in being weak. The tragedy is in pretending to be strong when your spirit is empty. Man's greatness begins the day he acknowledges his need for God, not as a religious crutch, but as the very reason he is alive. Earthly pursuits without God lead to emptiness. This is not an opinion. It is an ancient spiritual law that governs the destiny of men. There is a deception that has plagued generations, the belief that man can find fulfillment by accumulating. This deception was born from the fall, when man turned his gaze from the Creator to creation, seeking what only the divine can give from the works of his own hands. But everything under the sun was never designed to fulfill the soul of man. It can entertain you, it can distract you, but it cannot satisfy you. The pursuit of wealth, influence, fame, power, these are not evil in themselves. But when they become the obsession of a heart that has not encountered God, they become idols, and idolatry always ends in frustration. Many have built empires, acquired properties, commanded crowds, and still gone to bed empty. You can gain applause from nations, and still wake up a prisoner of your own emptiness. This is because fulfillment is not a result of achievement. It is the product of alignment with your source. A generation that pursues platforms more than presence will eventually self-destruct, because no amount of human accomplishment can fill the void designed to be occupied by God. Men have walked in the corridors of power and authority, only to confess in their dying moments that they still feel hollow. Why? Because the soul of man is eternal, and anything temporal, no matter how glamorous, cannot fill it. A throne without God becomes a grave. A crown without intimacy becomes a burden, and the applause of men without the validation of heaven becomes noise to the soul. The deception of earthly pursuit is that it keeps feeding you just enough to think the next level will bring peace. But when you reach that level, the hunger increases. You buy one house, and you think the second one will bring rest. You gain followers, and you think more visibility will silence the void. But the more you climb, the more your spirit cries out. The soul is not hungry for success. It is hungry for purpose. The heart is not thirsty for attention. It is thirsty for communion. Some of the most miserable people walk in designer suits and sit on golden chairs. Their names are written in lights, but their hearts are darkened with loneliness. Because what they truly seek is not recognition. It is restoration. The body can sleep on the softest bed and still carry the weight of an unrested soul. The hands can touch millions and still tremble with fear and anxiety. Because until the soul finds its rest in God, everything else is motion, without meaning. The rich and the poor alike, the influential and the none, all carry the same cry within, the cry for something more. And that more is not another possession. It is the presence of the one who made you. True satisfaction is a person, not a thing. This is a revelation that separates those who chase shadows from those who embrace substance. There is a realm in the spirit where men stop running after things and begin to run after a present. It is the place where the pursuit of material gain is exchanged for the pursuit of the one who holds all things. Until a man arrives at this point, he will continue to live life chasing after what was never designed to fulfill him. Satisfaction is not found in cars, houses, titles, applause, or achievements. All these things have their place, but they were never meant to replace God. The tragedy of our generation is that we have substituted the giver for the giver. We want what his hand can give, but we do not desire his heart. And so we rise, we labor, we conquer, but deep within, we remain empty, because the void in the human soul is not shaped like money or fame. It is shaped like God. It is possible to touch success and still cry yourself to sleep. It is possible to hold trophies and still carry wounds, because true fulfillment is not external. It is spiritual. It is not about what you have. It is about who you know. And I'm not speaking of human connections. I'm speaking of divine communion. When you truly encounter the presence, it redefines what matters to you. Things that once held your attention begin to lose their grip. You discover that peace is not a destination. Joy is not a product. Rest is not a result.
All of them are a person. You can attend conferences, build churches, run businesses, even perform miracles, and still be dry if the person of satisfaction is absent. That's why religion, without encounter, produces frustration. Activity without intimacy is the fastest way to burn out. You were not made to be sustained by things. You were made to be sustained by presence. There is a difference between living from Him and living for Him. One is transactional, the other is relational. Many are exhausted today, not because life is hard, but because they are drawing from the wrong well. Like the woman at the well who had 5 husbands and still came back thirsty. People are jumping from one relationship to another, one deal to another, one stage to another, looking for water that only one man can give. And until you meet Him, your search will never, your songs will not quench it, your certificates will not silence it, because the satisfaction you seek is not a feeling, it is a person. When you touch that person, even in the midst of storms, you will find, when you carry that presence, even when the account is empty, you will still be full, because you now draw from a well that never runs dry. You have found the one who is enough. Struggle is a sign of disconnection. In the realm of the spirit, nothing is ever random. When a man begins to struggle, emotionally, financially, mentally, or spiritually, it is often a signal that something in the divine alignment has been broken. Struggle in itself is not always proof of laziness or ignorance. Many times it is proof that man is attempting to operate outside the atmosphere of God's presence. Struggle becomes the language of a soul trying to survive without its. When man fell in the garden, the immediate consequence was not death in the flesh, it was separation in the spirit, and that separation birthed struggle. Thorns began to grow from the ground. Sweat became necessary for bread. Chaos entered what was once a realm of divine rest. The system of the kingdom was designed for ease. When man walks in alignment, but the moment disconnection happens, ease becomes effort, rest becomes restlessness, and peace is replaced with pressure. When you find yourself striving endlessly, fighting for identity, competing for relevance, laboring for validation, it's time to check your connection. Something is off, because in the presence, there is fullness. In the presence, there is clarity. But when that presence lifts, even the simplest tasks become warfare. You will pray and feel dry. You will sing and feel cold. You will work and still see no fruit. The anointing upon a man's life is proof that he is connected to the vine. For apart from Him, you can do nothing. The deception of self-sufficiency has made many believe that struggle is noble. They carry burdens God did not assign. Build altars He did not commission, and pursue visions He never revealed. Then they wonder why they are. Weariness is not always from too much work. It is from laboring without grace. It is possible to be active in ministry, family, business, or leadership, and still be disconnected. Connection is not in activity, it is in intimacy. When Jacob wrestled all night, it was not until he was broken that he prevailed. Many are still wrestling, because they have not come to the place of brokenness and surrender. They are trying to force results through willpower and intellect. But results in the spirit are not manufactured, they are birthed, and birthing happens through union, not striving. Struggle continues when pride tells you to keep going alone. But the moment you return, the moment you reconnect, the breath comes back. Direction is restored. The struggle ceases. This is why God calls us to abide. Not visit, but abide. Because the life of the branch is not in its effort, but in its attachment to the vine. The moment you detach, even if you keep the form, you lose the life. Some are functioning on momentum, not connection, and that momentum will fade. The oil will run dry. But when the connection is restored, grace begins to flow again. What was once impossible becomes effortless. Not because the mountain changed, but because your source returned. Rest is found in surrender, not in strife. This is a mystery that many never understand, until they are worn out by life. From the time man fell, the natural tendency of the flesh has been to fight, to labor, to build apart from God. We are trained to hustle, to chase, to conquer by strength. But in the realm of the spirit, strength is not always in motion. Sometimes, strength is in yielding. It is in knowing when to kneel, when to lay down your weapons, and say, Lord, take over. That is not weakness. That is power under authority. There is a rest that cannot be bought with money, a kind of peace that no material possession can produce. You can sit on a throne and be tormented. You can wear fine garments and carry a heavy soul, but there is a rest that only God gives, and it is only accessed by surrender. Not partial surrender, not convenient surrender, total surrender, the kind that lays down your will, your logic, your ambitions, your strategies, and says, not my will, but yours be done. The paradox of the kingdom is that victory comes when you give up, not when you push harder. That's why spiritual laws often seem foolish to the carnal mind, because in the world they tell you to fight until you win. But in the kingdom, you win when you let go. The more you fight in the flesh, the more the spirit the more you insist on your own way, the longer you delay divine intervention. There are things heaven cannot release until you surrender. There are doors that will not open until your pride is broken. The burden you are carrying may not be proof of responsibility. It may be proof of resistance. Many of the things weighing people down are not from God. They are self-imposed. You carried what he didn't give. You built what he didn't command. You entered battles he never sent you into. And now your strength is failing. Your peace is gone. Not because he left you, but because you refused to let him lead. There is a reason the scripture says, come unto me all you that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. That invitation is not for lazy people. It is for exhausted warriors. People who have tried everything and are still empty. That rest is not the absence of problems. It is the presence of God in the midst of the storm. It is the confidence that comes when your life is no longer in your hand. When you surrender, you become a partner in God's agenda, not the architect of your own plan. And in that partnership, he carries the weight, he makes the way, he gives the wisdom, the pressure to perform, to impress, to compete. It dies, because your identity is no longer tied to result. It is anchored in obedience, and that is where true rest is found, not in control but in trust. Beloved, the pursuit of life outside God is a journey toward exhaustion. No matter how gifted, connected or disciplined you are, there remains a place in your soul that only God can fill. You were not created to strive endlessly, to run from one thing to another, seeking validation, meaning or peace. You were created for communion, a life rooted in the presence, guided by his spirit, and sustained by his grace. So stop struggling, lay down your weapons, come out of the noise. Let God be more than just your emergency exit. Let him be your dwelling place. Rest is not a myth, satisfaction is not a fantasy, but they will never be found in things. They are only found in him. As you return to that place of surrender, may you find what your soul has been crying for all along. Peace that passes, understanding, joy that is full, and a life no longer driven by survival, but anchored in divine purpose. Thank you for opening your heart to this word. May your journey from struggle to surrender be filled with grace, divine encounters, and lasting transformation. I speak over your life. May your days ahead be marked by rest, favor and fulfillment. Good luck as you walk in alignment with God's perfect plan. You will not miss your portion. You will not miss your moment. Thank you and stay